Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long time since I have posted a video and I am so sorry. We are going to do a mani today using Ritzy dips, which is why I've been kind of absent. We are in the process of hiring some new people and we've got a lot going on with a lot of orders coming out. So I finally sat down and videoed a mani for you guys and I'm getting it up for you guys to watch. So we are going to be using this blue color. It's kind of like a teal color when it gets on your nails. It's called Gnarly. We're going to do Gnarly. We're also going to use Cherry Blossom, which is a solid pink from our Neon Pastel collection. And then also we're going to use Hot Mess. So Hot Mess was our second limited edition color that we released. It is no longer available. We did have quite a few and it did take a couple days to sell out. So I am sorry I cannot list that for you for purchase anymore. But it is called Hot Mess because it was a hot mess on how it was created. It truly can never be made again. It was just a hodgepodge of colors and glitters that got mixed accidentally. So hot mess is what we're going to be using. That is going to be the glitter. And yeah, we're going to do our typical ombre because you know me and how I like to ombre my glitters. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch along. If you guys need more in-depth tips and tricks, there are other videos on my channel. You guys can go watch those, but I'm going to let you guys just watch along as I dip my nails. Alright, so I did just want to pop on to explain kind of what I'm doing with this orange stick here, or toothpick, whatever you would like to use. I do like to trace around my cuticles with it after every single dip. It really helps clean up your cuticle line for those perfect cuticles. I also go through with a file later on, but I just wanted to explain that process in case you are new here and you haven't seen me do that before. A toothpick would work as well. So next here we are going to go in with our limited edition Hot Mess. Like I said, this truly is a hot mess. It was a total accident for how this glitter got created and it ended up turning out really, really pretty. So I'm just going to dump this into a cupcake liner. You could use, you know, a bowl, whatever you had available. Cupcake liners are just pretty inexpensive, and they come in bulk on Amazon. So I just dump it in there. You could definitely just dip your nail straight into the jar if you wanted to. I just find that it's a little bit easier to lay your finger flat in the cupcake liner. So with chunky glitters, I know I get so many questions about how do you do chunky glitters. So what I do is I do a full layer of the base coat first. You don't want to do the 3/4 method halfway up your nail, none of that. You want to do a full layer of the base coat. You can either lay it flat into the glitter or dip it into the jar. The first layer, I do recommend trying to find as much of the fine glitter as possible to dip or lay flat in for that first layer. That'll give you a good coverage for that first layer. A lot of it's going to lay flat. I'll even show you here in just a little bit how flat this glitter actually laid with the first dip. I barely had to press anything down, and I didn't have to pull much of it off. What you're looking for is that flat layer right there. You do not want anything sticking up. A lot of people struggle with, you know, I'm filing off all my glitter. It's turning silver when I file, even with a clear dip on top. That's because you're not getting it flat. You do not want chunks hanging off of it. You don't want anything sticking up. You do want to make sure it is completely flat. So doing that first layer in as much fine glitter as possible that you can find in that cupcake liner or the jar. And then on the second layer, I still kind of dip it in, and if it goes in the finer glitter, that's fine, because we can always, what I call, hand place some of the chunky glitters on top. This one I did kind of like a half and half, where I found a spot that had fine glitters as well as chunky glitters, and you can see they laid really flat. They went on pretty well. There was nothing sticking up crazy. There was a part right here that there was a clump of glitter, so I went ahead and just pulled that off. You don't want to keep that on there. And then I re-dipped because underneath there was some like wet base coat. So I'm cleaning up my cuticles as I go. I'm laying them flat as I go, kind of multitasking. If anything is sticking up or over the edge, I am pulling it off. You don't want to try to keep them on. Just go ahead and pull them off. You can always add more later. So once I get my cuticles all cleaned up and I have found that it is laying flat, which I'll show you again here in just a second, I can either go back in and add individual pieces if I need to, but it's looking pretty well covered here. I did feel like that piece stood up right there, so I'm going to peel that off. But like I said, if you think anything looks like it's missing, you can just dab some base coat in that empty or bald spot. Pick it up with a toothpick and place some glitter right into that base coat that you laid down. So those are some tricks for chunky glitter. I love chunky glitter, and I want everybody to love chunky glitter. Our company, which is Ritzy Dips, we specialize in chunky glitter. It's the reason I wanted to start the company. I just couldn't find any good chunky glitters out there that were easy to use. So our mission is to make really easy chunky glitters for people that love doing the dip powder. So hopefully you guys will give us a try. As always, the website will be down in the description. Here I'm going to go ahead and move on to our vertical ombre that I do a lot of the time, and just show you how I go through that. So I'm going to let you guys keep watching, and I'll be back. Alright, so on my thumb, I could not decide what I wanted to do, but I always like to put glitter on my thumb some way or another. So I decided to do this fun little swoop method. You just draw a line with your base coat, and then I tried to pick up a lot of the fine glitter from Hot Mess and get that as the first initial layer of my glitter right there. I will go over with another layer of glitter as well as hand placing some, but getting that fine glitter down there first always helps. Brush it off and then trace that line again with some more base coat, and this time you can dip right in if you want. You can sprinkle over with that brush again if you want. I wanted to pick up more of the chunky pieces this time, so I did go ahead and lay flat into that cupcake liner. I'm going to kind of clean it up and get the lines kind of in that wavy shape that I was wanting. And then I think here in a little bit I do go ahead and hand place some of the glitters just to make it how I want it. So I'm going to let you guys keep watching that. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and dip everything in our clear powder called Glass. And once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and activate, and that's what I'm about to do now. And like I mentioned earlier, even after I dip my clear powder, you do still want to trace your cuticles. You want to make sure that that base coat did not bleed over into your cuticle line that you already perfected with the solid. So you just want to make sure you're applying base coat here, you're dipping in the powder. You do want to clean up your cuticles after each clear layer as well. So hopefully that helps. And like you see there, I kind of had a little bit of overflow with the glass. That's because my base coat was a little bit too thick. I do like to put a thicker base coat on when I'm doing my clear powder because it helps really get into all those little nooks and crannies of the glitter. So sometimes when that happens, your glass or your clear can kind of go off the side a little bit. And that's okay. If you just kind of smush it in with your finger or wipe it off with a toothpick, it's fine as long as you get to it before it hardens. And even if you don't, you can just file it off. But that's another tip, is to do a little bit thicker of a base coat when you are doing when you're dipping in your clear. So I'm going to finish up with this, and like I said, I'm going to activate, file and buff, and I'll be back. And then once I'm done brushing off the excess powder, you always should be using a stiff brush or toothbrush to get off the rest of that clear layer. If you're dealing with bubbly clear powder, it could be the powder you're using, or it could be that you're not getting enough of it off. So stiff brush for the win, and I'm going to go ahead and activate. Okay, so after I activated, I did wait 2 minutes, and then I did file and buff and shape. And then real quick, I wanted to show you a little trick that I think helps make your top coat look super shiny. One of these fine buffer blocks, I'll have it listed in the description below. I get them on Amazon. What you want to do is the last step of what I call buffing your nails is to really take this buffing block across the entire nail super fast and make sure that it is nice and smooth. You should feel a very smooth surface. I'm trying to show you the before and after. It's really hard to pick up on camera, but I'll show you again here. You can see it's buffed and it's smooth, but as soon as I take that buffing block to it in person, you can see a huge difference. It almost comes out as like a shiny appearance because it is completely buffed out and super smooth. So that's a huge tip that I have found makes your top coat really go on really smooth and really shiny. So just wanted to throw that out there for you guys. After I'm done with this, I do go wash my hands with just water, and then when I come back, I'm going to show you here in just a second, I do take my glass cuticle pusher and while my nails are still wet, I go around my cuticles and remove any excess product that is stuck there. When your nails are wet or your hands are wet right after washing them, the stuff just comes right off. I don't have any oil or cuticle remover on my nails at this time, just truly water. And so after that is done, it really does help that cleanup process. And then I go right back in with activator for the second time. I give it about a minute. I don't really know what the directions say, but I do wait about a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and then I will wipe off with my lint-free wipe. You could use a paper towel, but you definitely want to make sure you're wiping off that activator. And then once that is all wiped off, I go in with my top coat. So the top coat, for most products out there, unless the directions say differently, you're going to want to do one hand at a time. You're going to want to do all 5 fingers at one time. And then once you are done with, I always start on my thumb, so once I'm done with my pinky, I do go right back in with my second layer. I do not wait in between coats. I have found that waiting actually makes them appear dull or matte looking, streaky. So I just go straight in with the second layer of my base or my top coat. So hopefully that helps. There are different brands of liquids out there. Ritzy is actually getting ready to come out with our own dip liquid sets and eventually gel liquids. So stay tuned for those. They're going to be awesome. So I'm just finishing up my top coat here, and I'll be back for cuticle oil. Alright, so I decided to change things up this time around. My cuticles are super dry right now, so instead of cuticle oil from Grimes Ridge, I'm going to use this kind of like a body lotion oil that she sent me. It's actually avocado oil mixed with some scents, I believe, and it is just so hydrating with my skin. Recently I've had a lot of dry cuticles and fingers. I'm not really sure why, but it helps a lot really give that moisture back after a manicure. So here is my final product, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!